Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the 8 Points Up, where your stories help us figure ours out. Today, we're talking about something real, something most of us fake really well: self love. Not in the Instagram kind, and not in the treat yourself kind way, but in the deep, honest, sometimes awkward journey of learning to like the person you are, that person in the mirror. Because let's be honest, how many of us actually know how to do that? Today's show is called How Do I Learn to Love Myself? And this is not a lecture. It's a real conversation between two incredible guests joining us. They are not coming here to tell you how to fix your life. They are here to share where they're at in their self-love journey. The messy parts, the breakthroughs, the little things they're doing to show up for themselves, or at least trying to. And as always, this space is for you too. We want you part of this. So drop us your thoughts in an email and share your story. Welcome, Tiana, Adriano. Thank you so much for being part of our show. And in specific, being part of the How Do I Learn to Love Myself? You know, so many of us, we hear this all the time about how to learn to love ourselves. And there's so much out there, so much advice and guidance on the how to. One of the biggest fallacies I believe out there is that you should stand in front of the mirror and every day,
little affirmation.
Hey, gorgeous. I love you. But the truth is, in my experience, that really counts for nothing. Unless you're doing the hard work and unless you're really putting in the effort into growing that self-love for yourself. To be able to stand in front of that mirror and actually say you love yourself is not going to happen for you. So before we get cracking today, what I'd like to ask each of you, maybe we can start with you, Adriano. What would you say your definition of self-love is?
I think for me, self-love looks like a lot of self-acceptance. For me, it's been about doing a lot of shadow work. It's easy to love the part of yourselves that are accepted by society at large, but all the other stuff that other people have disliked about you for so long, that's the part of myself that I've needed to accept, that is still there in order for me to love myself.
So the voices inside your head and the voices from what you've been told in your past.
Yeah.
Do you believe those voices?
I think I used to more than I do now. I think, though, that it's still, realistically, it still comes back to you. Do you know what I mean? In your low moments, those voices creep in and you're more inclined to believe them.
Intrusive
even
thoughts.
when you know better, yeah.
Wow. Can I ask you what those thoughts are? What is it that you're hearing?
No, I'm not comfortable discussing that.
That's
I'm just joking. For me, it had to do with my sexuality, being gay, being rejected for that a lot of my life, and coming from like a very cultural family, traditional family.
Okay.
There's very strict gender roles. Like in the Portuguese language, we literally have words for masculine and feminine of objects even.
Okay.
So in the way we handle people, it's very much that. There's very strict roles, There's very strict ideas of what a man is expected to be, and same for a woman. And I mean, in South Africa, I think with a lot of our cultures, yeah, it's the same across the board. And so that for me has been accepting that I'm not everything a man should be, I suppose.
Okay.
I am feminine. I have a healthy mix of both, I think. Do you know what I mean?
And you're now embracing both.
Yeah.
Because you
We're
love
trying
yourself.
to, yeah.
Okay. Tiana, what's your definition of self-love?
Yeah, I feel like Anna stole some of my points. But yeah, I think it is round about the same as there's always going to be those aspects of yourself that there might be days where you don't like that little thing that used to bother you before, whatever. But knowing that it's okay to have like the bad days, knowing it's okay that you're not always going to be.
I love that.
Yeah, like you're not always going to be the life of the party or the best of the best. And accepting that that's okay. Allowing yourself, I guess, to be human is the best way to phrase and encapsulate, put in a box.
Yeah. You know, I often feel that all of us, or myself, you know, speaking of my own personal experience, we are so hard on ourselves. And that kind of thought, that kind of mentality kind of chips away at how you feel about yourself. And I think one of the greatest steps anybody can take into achieving like real true self-love is exactly what you're speaking about, and that is self-care, and being considerate of self. You know, when you're having a thought or you're having a doubt in your mind about whatever it is that you're thinking or doing or whatever the case may be, taking the time to remember that you're only human. You know what I mean? Remembering that you're just a person. And you, like everyone you would give that grace to.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You deserve to receive your own level of grace. Okay, thank you for that. What I'd like to ask you now, you've both shared what you understand self-love to be, and I'm going to bounce back to you, Adriano. As you sit here today, in your understanding of self-love, would you say that you love yourself?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Wow.
I think for the most part, yes.
Okay.
It's been a long, hard journey, but we're there.
Okay, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tell me why you say that.
I think because, like I said, I've done the shadow work. I've come to accept the good and bad of myself, and allowed myself to understand that the mistakes I've made is because of who I was and where I was. Do you know what I mean? Do you know the saying, you don't know what you don't know?
Yeah.
You know? And I've had to go through what I went through to understand and be who I am now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And accept who you are now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yourself, Tiana?
I think I view it like very much like this continuous journey. So
it is. It's a total
I think
journey.
I definitely, like some days I feel like I'm very much aligned, but I do still occasionally struggle with that thing of grace. So I'll find myself being like, complain about this, or like, oh, I can't believe I did that. And I'm like, wait, I think the self-awareness makes it a whole lot easier.
Okay.
So I don't think that I'll ever reach like a full stop destination, but I think that like it's a whole lot easier now to like embrace myself.
Well, there definitely is no full stop.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem. I'm always fighting for when I don't have those bad days.
Okay.
I feel like that's when I've reached my peak.
Okay. All right. What you're telling me is that you need to start to learn to be more considerate of yourself, to realize that there's going to be those good days and there's going to be those bad days. Yeah. And like you said, Tiana, finding acceptance. Simple things like I personally struggle quite seriously with, general anxiety. I've got this permanent feeling of anxiety. There's nothing wrong in my life. I can have a really good day, but I get home at like 4 or 5 o'clock, whatever the time is. And I feel this intense feeling of worry. And I feel this feeling of anxiety that sometimes can be quite crippling. And it's very easy at that moment to start digging through the filing cabinet in your mind and start finding things to start pointing the finger at yourself with.
Yeah.
And it's at that moment, what I've learned recently is to stop and remember, this is my body. And part of my body, or part of me, is that I have low general anxiety. And to accept, I've got this feeling. I know that I'm good, right? I know that I don't need to have this feeling right now. But accept the feeling, accept that it's just my body being itself, and give myself the space to breathe. So I really agree with what both of you are saying. I agree with that. So for us, or for me, in developing the 8-point plan, I believe strongly that self-love comes from practical efforts. It comes from a practical plan to learn to love yourself. And it sounds to me like both of you have, started that journey and are doing whatever it is that you do to practice self-love. But I like to break self-love into 2 categories. The first category is your day-to-day. Okay? I believe that we cannot really learn to love ourselves if we're not giving ourselves a life worth living. That sounds really big. But if you break it down, it's your day-to-day. It's everybody's day-to-day. Okay? When you wake up in the morning and you feel like you can't face your day, you can't face your work, you basically every day you wake up with that feeling of dread, like what do they call it, the Sunday blues. You wake up with that and you don't know how you're going to face your Monday. If you are facing every day feeling that way, how can you be grateful to yourself for the life you're living? And if you're not grateful to yourself for waking up and enjoying every day, how are you going to love yourself?
Yeah, I think as well, people put that high expectations on themselves. So you think like, oh, I have to always be having a good day. I always have to be doing. So you don't think like, oh, just waking up today and going to shower was like the major thing. No one celebrates those little victories that you have.
Yeah.
You wake up, you get ready for work, you're like, oh, okay, it's another day, and you don't think like, okay, at least like, thank goodness I got up today. Thank goodness I went to like brush my teeth. Because the big things for some people are like easy for others, and small things can also be easy for others and difficult for you. So
I totally appreciate what you're saying. But what I'm saying is this. I agree with you. We have to have space for ourselves to have those bad days. Okay?
Exactly.
Not every day is going to be a good day. What I'm talking about is your general day-to-day, the life you lead. If you lead a life that you are happy to live, and you create a day-to-day life that you are happy to get up, even on the day, like you say, even on the days that you wake up and you don't feel great, or you're having a bad day, even on those days, you don't mind doing what you do. You don't mind getting up and going to the job that you do, going to the gym that you do, seeing the friends that you do. You don't mind living your life. That to me is a very important element of self-love. And the reason why it is so important is because I found for myself, creating a day-to-day life that I'm happy to live created for me, in me, a sense of gratitude to myself for giving myself a life that I'm happy to live. And by extension of that, or through that, I started to feel more peaceful within myself. And creating that peace within myself helped me find joy, helped me feel calmer, and so self-love started to develop. So what I want to ask you, both of you have said to me that you love yourself, okay? Adriano, do you love your day-to-day?
For the most part.
Okay.
I don't love that I don't come from a super privileged background where a lot of the people in my industry can rely on their parents because they come from money. So for them, it is as easy as constantly just going for lessons and just worrying about auditions and those type of gigs. Whereas,
what industry are you in?
Sorry, my bad. I'm a performer, so I'm in the
Okay.
musical theatre and acting industry.
Wow. Okay.
I say a lot of people, that has been who I feel like has had the grace of dominating the industry a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of other of us, we don't have that type of an opportunity. So our days are balanced with trying to keep up with our disciplines like dancing and singing and acting, as well as other work to keep us going. And so, no, I don't always love my day to day. Sometimes I'm doing things I don't want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's overloaded, like voice noting people to confirm things at 12 o'clock at night before I shower, because that's the time my day has ended. And I don't love that aspect of it. I don't love being so busy that I don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love when the things that I'm doing, even when it's that busy, is bringing me like a sense of purpose.
Tell me something. When you put your head down on your pillow at night and close your eyes, off to bed, off to sleep, do you say today was worth it?
I'm starting to again.
Okay.
There was a period there where I found myself not wanting to get up and start my day.
Okay.
I'd like linger in bed longer than I should.
When you felt that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Hmm?
But when you felt that way, would you honestly say that you loved yourself? When you've just said that when I was waking up every day and I would hang around, not get up, and I didn't want to face my day, were you happy within yourself?
I think that's such a layered question. I wasn't happy with what my life was looking like.
Okay.
Did I love myself in it? For the most part, I think, you know what, like it does take a toll on you mentally.
Yeah.
And when you're in a low, and like I said, it's easier to start feeling a type of way about yourself, start believing the bad things. You're not giving yourself the grace you should when you're experiencing the lows. Yeah, I suppose it does take a knock on the way you feel about yourself.
Okay. And you, Tiana, do you love your day?
I think, yeah, as well, for the most part. There are days where
Sorry, before we carry on,
Yeah.
what do you do with your days?
Oh, so predominantly a content creator, streamer.
Wow.
So the day is mostly like either editing or planning ahead, and then streams in the evening. So from like 4.
Okay.
So the days where I am not like in the mood to stream and things like that, those are the days that I don't go to bed. Like, yeah, today was productive. But when I am like, okay, it doesn't feel like it's going to be, but let's do all of these things, because I love streaming so much.
Okay.
Like, I love doing all of those things. So even when I'm like, I don't feel like doing it, but let me just do it. I'm like, okay, yes, no, this was perfect. This day was good.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so for the most part as well, there are times where I think I do procrastinate quite a bit at times. So those are the days.
I don't think that has any indication of whether or not you love your day to day as
Yeah.
I love my day to day and I love my life, but there's many days where I procrastinate on things that I don't really feel like doing.
Do you mind if I ask a question? Just to
Oh.
you. But I mean, please say if you're not comfortable to speak about it, but do you feel like your mental health plays a factor in how your days feel?
Definitely a major factor, because I think and it's funny because I was just saying, like, you know, sometimes you're not going to give your all, but especially with like with streaming and I think in actually any industry, I don't think it's just in the entertainment, but when you're putting yourself out there and you have to speak to a bunch of people constantly, whether it's face to face or in front of a camera, when I'm not feeling 100%, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do this thing. Like, I don't want to stream. I don't want to like interact with people because I'm not at like that expected 100%.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like the journey is still there, because even when I'm in that space, people are like, okay, yeah, but anyway, we still want to see you. You still want to talk to you, you know? Like, so yeah, so mental health, I think, does play a major role.
Of course. Especially if mental health is generating feelings within yourself, feelings of depression or anxiety or stress or whatever the case may be, those can be hindering to whatever it is that it is you want to do or need to do for the day. For me, personally, how I came to the place where I wanted to have certain tick boxes in my mind. I'm a very practical thinker.
Yeah.
In getting to the point of having the 8-point plan, it is a practical way of living a life. Okay, it's created by tick boxes. I wanted to know, or the question I wanted to ask myself is, we all have jobs we don't want to do. We all have things in the day that we don't want to do.
Mm.
We all have inherent limitations, like a form of, mental health. We all have stuff in the day that we don't want to tackle or that we don't like, okay? This idea that every day is a perfect day and you live a perfect life every day, that's a fallacy. We all agree, okay?
Yeah.
Rather than to focus on those things that I didn't want to do, I decided to create a tick box in my mind of the things that I did want to do. So I knew that if I did this and this and this, and I'll share them with you, if I did this and I did that and I did this, if I did those things, I could go to bed that night knowing that I served myself, I served my day. So even though there were things in the day that I didn't want to do or that felt like a drag, I still was having a good day, and still, more importantly, broken down into day by day, was giving myself the life worth living. So for me, for example, I know that I need to a degree, and I fail from time to time, I need to eat well. I need to try get some form of exercise. I need to have tried my best at work. This isn't my day job. But I need to have done the best that I could at my job. And then there's personal purpose as well. And I mean, I love to read. I read a huge amount. So I must give myself an opportunity to read. Once I've ticked those boxes, those reward factors for me, then I feel like it doesn't matter. The stuff that drained me didn't really matter. And so that is how I've developed a plan to get myself to the point where I can say, you know what? I don't mind living my day. I don't mind doing my day.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Not me just being the host. How do you feel like that impacts the way you feel about yourself?
Good question. I feel that it makes me feel really good about myself. What you don't know is that I spent many years in a very busy career. There was no time for anything. There was definitely no time for me. Very late nights, weekends. There was a stretch where I don't think I even had proper leave in about 10 years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That's when the wheels came off the bus. And that's when the 8-point plan was birthed, to be honest with you. I needed to create some form of living that I could do what I needed to do to earn money and pay the bills, okay, have a good career, but also be happy with myself and feeding me. So to answer your question, Adriano, how does it feel to tick these boxes in my mind? Is that your question?
Yeah. How does that impact or influence the way you feel about yourself, was the question.
I love myself. I love myself because when I get up every day, I feel that, yes, there's stuff I've got to do that maybe I don't want to. There's stuff that I've got to do that's hard. There's stuff that I want to do that, quite frankly, is a drag and I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But I'm also doing these things for me. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to do my best at work. I'm going to read my book. I'm going to paint. I'm going to see a friend. I'm feeding me as much as what everything around me needs to be fed. So I'm just as important as what anything in my day is. And for me, how did that bring me to feel good about myself? It created in me a degree of gratitude that I'm living for me as well as living for everything around me.
So I just wanted to ask, because you're saying you have all of the things that you check off. Is there ever a time where you don't finish every single one of those things? And if there is a time, because there might never be, but if there is a time, does that affect you? Or is it like, well, I still achieved like 3 out of 8, so that's still okay? Because I know, like, if I had to be in that position and I was like, okay, I said I need to tick this, this, and this, and I left something out, it might like make me feel a bit shaky. So yeah, I just wanted to know.
Tiana, Tiana, were you not the one that sat here telling us we need to have compassion for ourselves?
Yes, but I also said sometimes it's hard.
So exactly that. Okay. No, I don't. Most days I don't tick all the boxes. Most days I don't. It can't be a rule. Life is not a solid rule. Okay. And yeah, most days I don't tick all the boxes. In fact, yesterday I think I ate like a pig. Okay. So I didn't feel great about that. I didn't feel great about that. And yes, I thought, well, but I remember that I'm just a human being, just like you are. Yesterday I also didn't do any gym. I didn't do gym because my body was tired. I've been gymming the whole week. Like things were sore and I was just physically and emotionally exhausted. So that's when that compassion that you're talking about needs to step in. When you, and everybody's tick boxes are different. Everybody's reward factors are different. Everybody's incentives for the days, they're different. When you don't hit, like the benchmark every day, and you might even find that on some days you don't get anything right. You need to learn to have but you need to have compassion for yourself, that you too are a human being, and you too can't be up there all day, every day.
I think that's what I struggle with the most as well. So my tick boxes aren't necessarily what I'm doing with my day, but the way I behave and carry myself throughout the day.
Okay.
So if I feel like I'm not showing myself love and respect, so like, for example, getting into an Uber and they'll be like, oh, whatever, you're going to go see your girlfriend. If I don't say, no, I'm gay, I feel like I've let myself down because I'm like, why am I not proud of who I am? Do you know what I mean? Even if they disagree, I'm just like, I don't want to be afraid of that confrontation anymore. And I feel like if I let myself down in that way, I haven't ticked a box and I'm still hard on myself. I'll voice note it. I'll be like, I fucking... so annoyed with myself. I'm like, why can't I just, So I'm still struggling with that.
But that is a tick box for you.
Yeah, that's my tick box.
That is one of your tick boxes. That is a tick box for you because, as you said, historically you didn't feel stood up for. Maybe you didn't stand up for yourself enough.
Not at all.
Probably because you didn't understand a lot of what you were feeling and experiencing, coming out as gay at that time. And you certainly weren't getting that kind of level of support in your support structure.
For sure.
So I think maybe one of your big tick boxes, maybe not for the rest of your life, but definitely for right now, is to know that you're standing up for you. You're proud of who you are, you're proud of where you're at, and something that's important for you is that you're standing up for Adriano, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
The second thing the second part of self-love, so we've discussed the first part, creating a day-to-day that we love to live. The second part of self-love that I think is extremely important is a degree of self-attraction. And this is where I think people say, you should look in the mirror and
give your affirmations.
Give yourself affirmation. I really struggled with this. Growing up, I always felt I didn't feel attractive at all. And in my like young adult life, I certainly didn't feel it. In fact, I felt it less. And what happened to me, what came about as a consequence of this is that I just, my weight was up and down until eventually I was grossly overweight. And the more I became opposite of everything I wanted for myself in terms of how I wanted to look, the more I didn't like my look, the more I didn't like myself, and the less I loved myself. That's the truth. And yeah, at exactly the same point, I wanted to understand, how can I get back to that place?
Do you feel like that was a condition for you, that you could only love yourself if you started meeting your marks in that way? Or do you feel like there was a level of self-acceptance that needed to come in some degree as well?
Definitely a level of self-acceptance that comes in. But I don't believe in anything as a good-looking person. Not anymore. Not after the work
I'm
that
leaving.
Excuse me.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I really do not believe in one particular, or maybe Shawn Mendes, but I don't believe in a good-looking person.
Yeah, I think beauty is definitely subjective.
Beauty is subjective. I believe that we're all good-looking, as long as we're working towards having our best look, whatever that is. Okay? And putting the effort in for ourselves to have that best look. So yes, you're completely right, Adriano. And this is something that I'm, at the ripe age of 42, only beginning to learn now. In my mind, for maybe the past, I don't even know how long, and my best friend, who I love dearly, Stacey, she will tell you that for the longest time, all I wanted to be was the skinny little guy. And I would starve myself and run hundreds of kilometers and do this and do that and whatever the case may be. But the truth is, I'm never going to be that. That's just not how my body is.
And it shows you how, beauty is subjective, because for me, the skinny little guy is not an attractive idea in my head, for me personally.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Not to say anyone that is skinny is not attractive.
No, well, that is exactly the point I'm trying to get across. And I thank you for saying that, because it is important. What's important by what you've just said is that there is no such thing, in my mind anyway, of an idyllic, good-looking person, right? We are all different. Attractions within one another are all different. And all we can do for ourselves is find us a degree of self-attraction. Now, in line with what you were saying, very importantly, in order to get to the point of self-attraction, self-acceptance is key.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think when I hadn't accepted, that I think that I'm hot no matter what, it was as well, crazy diets, trying to go to gym when I hated certain things in the gym, or doing specific workouts, but this is what everybody says you need to do, and this is how, and it does make you even hate that activity. So you don't even want to work out because you actually hate it. There's no positivity surrounding that. But when it's okay, well, I want to work out because I want to feel good, or I want my body to be moving, or whatever the case may be, then when you now when I do an exercise, I'm okay, it's sore, but at least my body's moving. At least I'm getting closer to touching my toes now, because it's not about oh, you need to be skinny because this was what everybody said, it looks hot and I need to get to that, Now it's at least,
Yeah. You see, for me, I believe self-attraction comes from a degree of self-confidence, acceptance. And I believe that self-confidence comes from, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, I don't like my belly fat. I don't like it, but let's just say that's the example, right? what I learned for myself is when I start doing things to work at it, like when I go onto a proper eating plan versus a flash diet, and I start doing crunches at the gym or doing something because this is bothering me, I don't have to have a finished product to start feeling good about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I want to dress in a certain way and I go get myself a top that makes me feel good and I put it on and I do my hair and, you know, whatever the case may be, when I start paying attention to what I am calling for within myself, I don't need to have a finished product. I don't need to have a model body. I don't need to be the most good-looking man in the room. But I'm going to definitely start feeling like I am. I believe that when you get to the point where you are working at all the things that you're not happy with, okay? And listen, let's not sugarcoat this. Let's not try and be all powder puff about this. The truth of the matter is, all of us have got things that we're not happy with, and I'm talking about cosmetically, okay? Whether we need to lose weight, whatever the case may be.
Don't like our nose, our teeth.
Our nose, our teeth, our ears, our this, our whatever the case may be. These all of us have got stuff that we want to work on. The second you start putting in the effort is the second you start feeling better.
But do you not feel like, to a certain extent, it's about accepting yourself beyond putting in the effort? Like, isn't there a prayer that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change? Or some, I don't know. I don't know religion, but
Adriano, I'm going to ask you this, okay? I do agree with acceptance. I do agree with acceptance.
And I'm not saying, like, don't take a certain level of self-pride and still look after yourself and put effort into looking your best self. But I mean, let's say for me personally, I broke my nose when I was younger. And the reason I hate this side of myself is because my nose takes a different shape compared to when I'm on this side. So you'll see on my Instagram there, I'm always taking photos from this side.
Okay.
And that is something that I try to fix. It made my sinuses act up so much worse. And it's something that has been offered to me to be fixed again, and I won't do it. It's something that I've now just kind of come to, I don't love it about myself, but I've kind of come to accept this is what my face looks like now, and I'm not going to go and fuck it up more. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with the degree of acceptance. Like I just said to you, you're never going to get to the place of perfection. You're not going to get to the place of perfection. And definitely a degree of acceptance needs to come in. But Adriano, like when you're putting in the effort with everything else that you can deal with, does the nose still bother you as much as it does?
No, I guess not.
That's what I'm trying to say. When we are putting in the effort for ourselves, okay, and we're feeling confident about all the good things that we've put in work on for ourselves, in my mind and for me, I feel good about myself. And then when I look in the mirror, I can say, I like what I see. And that creates for me a degree of self-attraction, and that creates a degree of self-love. Okay. And then comes the acceptance. There's things about me that I'm battle to accept. You know, I've got a jelly donut sitting on my stomach that has been there for 20 years. I don't know, it doesn't go. But you know, all the other things that I do, I don't know if I care so much about it. Well, sorry, that's wrong of me to say. It makes it easier to accept.
Yes.
100%. I had an experience, I don't know if I should maybe speak about this because it's not necessarily my experience, but I had a experience with a friend of mine at college who, for our first 2 years of college, she was trying so hard to lose weight. She was like eating plans. She was literally only ever eating damn salads. She was working out every day. We had a physically like extensive course. and she was just not
Did you
happy with the way
study
she
dance,
looked. Musical theatre and dance, yeah.
Mm.
And she was just not happy with the way she looked. And there were several times where we had to have conversations about it, because I'd introduced, like, I was used to like body positivity. I mean, everybody's going to have different shapes, genetics, blah, 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 you know? And I just kind of used to have this conversation with her a lot about, like, you should love yourself the way you look now. You know, I'm not saying don't work on trying to get to where you want to go, but like, it's worth loving yourself now. You know, it's about enjoying the journey, not this end goal that, like, just know you never reach, you know? And she struggled with that for a long time. And it was only really in our third year that she really started feeling good about herself and accepting the way she looked. That I think when she realized there was more to it than just working out and eating, there was something else going on, whatever the case is. And she started accepting the way she looked and started making the effort to feel comfortable in her skin and sexy in her skin. We had like a number of like
feeling that, hey?
Yep.
It really is. Yeah.
We had a number of like sexy classes. So for our third year concert, the girls had to do a very sexy number in lingerie. And she came to me, she like locked the studio door and she's like, teach me how to be sexy. So I was like, it's not so much about the way you move. I mean, it is the way you move, but it's also about the way you feel about yourself. And one of the biggest things that happened in this room is that when she was touching herself in the choreography, she was touching herself like she didn't want to touch herself. And I said, you want to touch yourself the way you want to be touched. Like, oh, like you're touching someone that you enjoy, you know? And she just cried. And she sat there and she cried, and we had a whole like little therapy session. But I think that was the first like breakthrough of her journey. And I think after that, can I tell you, she also killed that performance thereafter. Like, it really fucking helped.
Yeah.
And I just feel like throughout the rest of her third year, I really saw her grow into her own power.
Wow.
Feeling comfortable and sexy in herself, that we performed Rocky Horror for my final before we left.
Yeah.
The final performance class, she was there in a bra and panties. And you know what? Yeah, suddenly she got a man. It wasn't about the way she looked. It was about the way she felt about herself.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key right there. When you, it sounds to me like she was doing everything practical to have the look she wanted, or whatever the case may be. But it sounds to me that there was other work she needed to do. It sounds to me like there was psychological work she needed to do.
Yeah. And that's
to bring her to that place of acceptance.
Yeah.
And it appears to me, or from what you're telling me, when she finally put in those hard gears, you know, whatever she was thinking, whatever psychologically she needed to fix, maybe she didn't look the way, you know, her dream vision of herself was. But through putting in the effort, putting in the work, she grew a degree of self-acceptance. And just in that moment, in that third year, started to, you know, find self-attraction and find this sexy groove. That's amazing.
And I think she started looking, like you were saying, the best version of herself that she could be.
I love that.
And
I love being, you know, whenever someone says to me, you know, I'm working towards being the best version of myself, and I'm talking aesthetically now. There's lots of other versions of being the best of yourself you can be, but I'm talking about when you have your best look.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah.
When you get, you do. Tiana.
Yeah.
You know, when you get dressed and you do your hair and put on your makeup and wear a pretty dress and you walk out and you're like, wow, I own this space.
Yeah. And it took long, because similarly, like, weight has always been that one thing for me. And with, you know, I'd go with depression, it's up here, then it's down here, and it's fluctuating all the time. And I really did not, like, it took me so long to get to a place where I was comfortable with how I looked. And I think you even dress according to, you know, like, if you go and you look at like plus size outfits, the things look like curtains. We need to be honest, and they look like oversized drapes, you know?
Okay.
And I used to be that person who was like, I must make, you know, cover everything. But now I'm like, now that I'm comfortable, and I'm like, I want to also wear a stomach out. I want to wear something like this or like that, you know?
No, and I love that for you. And I mean, clearly when you walked in to where you are now with me here today, I can see that you love your body. And you know what? I love your body too.
Thank you.
And you know what? And I think anybody that would come across you would say the same to you. And you know why? Because you exude that feeling that you love yourself. And if you love yourself, we're loving you.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I definitely think it's about your attitude and the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
Amen. And you know what? That attitude and the way you carry yourself, you know where it comes from? When you start putting in the effort. When you put the effort into the life you live so that you're happy in your day. When you put the effort into being the best, like you say, Tiana, the best look you can look.
And I think it goes hand in hand. I think you got to work on the internal and the external.
Yeah.
You know, like it helps me feel good about myself when I feel like I look good. But at the same time, you've got to feel good about yourself in order to be bold enough to look good. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, like you just explained with your friend.
Yeah.
Who had like whatever psychologically she needed to sort.
Yeah. And there's like a physical transformation that goes with that I find super interesting. So I used to call her Strappy in first year because she used to wear layers of stuff. So like there's always straps over here because she had like her bra and then a tank top and then this and then her shirt. And I was like, it's ugly. It's not fashion. It's just stop doing it.
Okay.
You know? And she did. But at the time she was like comfortable in herself and her body. But it's helpful criticism. And by the end of third year, like she's always had a good fashion sense. She's just bold enough to now live it. She was like, okay, you know?
And you listen here, you can see it. You can see when somebody is not feeling attracted to themselves and, like you say, strappy, loaded up with every garment in her cupboard. And then you can see when someone, Tiana, forgive me, I get it from you, where you can see it when someone feels sexy. Like I get it from you that you carry that, right? Thank you both so much for joining us here today. And listen, I think that this has just opened up so many more conversations on self-love. And I'm so happy to be on this journey with you guys and with our viewers. You guys at home, I truly hope that within this show, you found value. I hope that the light bulb moment in some way or another has gone off, or the cosmic kick has turned things around within the sphere of self-love. The bottom line is that loving ourselves, or you loving yourself, is achievable for all of us. But it starts in the small things, and it's hard work. Start by creating a day-to-day that you're happy to live, that you're happy to get up and face in every day. Keep your mind under control by focusing on your focus points and addressing pressing issues that are needing attention. The 8-point plan can help you with that. And very importantly, appreciate your look. Make yourself the best version of yourself you can be. Thanks, everybody. Until next time, keep going and write in.